It started with a whisper, a hushed rumor that Thornwood Manor was cursed. Perched on a windswept hill, its windows watched the world with a hollow gaze. They said the walls kept secrets, and the attic. Well, no one dared speak of the attic. When Thomas arrived at Thornwood, he was eager for a fresh start. The townsfolk had warned him, but desperation outweighed superstition. As the old housekeeper handed him the keys, her eyes lingered on the attic stairs. "Don't go near the attic," she muttered before disappearing into the night. That first evening, the wind howled, rattling the windows like desperate fingers against the glass. Thomas dismissed it as the creaks of an old house settling into its bones. By midnight, however, he was wide awake. Somewhere above him, something heavy dragged across the floor, slowly, deliberately. For 2 more nights he endured it, brushing off the strange noises and the creeping unease. But by the 3rd night, curiosity got the better of him. The scraping, the whispering, they seemed to call to him. With a flashlight trembling in his hand, he climbed the stairs to the attic. The door groaned as he pushed it open, releasing a suffocating stench of mildew and decay. The dim beam of his flashlight swept over dusty furniture and forgotten relics. At the far end of the room, a rocking chair swayed slowly, though there was no breeze. Then he saw her, a silhouette crouched in the corner, its back to him. Her wild, matted hair spilled over her shoulders as her skeletal fingers scratched something illegible into the wooden floor. "Ma'am?" Thomas whispered, his voice barely audible. The figure froze and the room plunged into an unbearable silence. The next morning, shaken but determined, Thomas searched the house for answers. Among the clutter and cobwebs, he found an old diary, its leather cover cracked with age. Inside, frantic scrawls filled the pages. One entry read, "She watches me even now. Her face, it isn't hers. The screams never stop. I'm sorry I locked you away, but it had to be done." Thomas's breath caught as he flipped to the final page. Scrawled in uneven letters were the words, "She's no longer confined to the attic." That night the house seemed to hold its breath. The sound of dragging feet echoed through the halls, slow and deliberate, drawing closer. Thomas lay in his bed, paralyzed with fear. His bedroom door creaked open, revealing her standing in the doorway. She was tall and impossibly thin, her tattered gown billowing as though caught in a phantom wind. Her hands, bony and clawed, reached forward, but her face was smooth, featureless, and yet it stared at him, radiating a malice so intense it was suffocating. As she lunged, Thomas's scream ripped through the house, blending with the walls, groaning as if the house itself was alive. The world went dark, and when the townsfolk finally found him days later, he was huddled in the attic, muttering incoherently about a faceless woman and the unending screams. Thornwood Manor was boarded up once again, left to decay on the hill. But even now the villagers swear that on stormy nights, a shadow can be seen in the attic window, watching, waiting.